So you're launching an online store. That's awesome. Got the products. Website's looking good. But, there's always that thing, that payment gateway decision.
Yeah, it can feel like you're back at a tech conference trying to pick a Wi-Fi network. They all say they're the fastest.
It's the worst. So we're diving into this article from Now Technology Systems, all about the top e-commerce payment gateways for Australian businesses. You with us.
Definitely. And even if you think you know payment gateways, choosing the right one, it's still crucial, right? Makes or breaks the customer experience and your bottom line.
They actually call a payment gateway the digital cashier of your online store, which, I've never thought about it like that before. Have you?
It seems simple, but think about how many times you've abandoned a cart online just because the payment process was a pain. A good gateway needs to be reliable, easy, build trust, keep those sales coming in.
Totally. So this article looks at 5 big ones for Aussie businesses.
Yeah.
PayPal, Square, Stripe, eWay, and Afterpay.
Let's unpack what makes them each a bit different beyond just, listing features and stuff.
Definitely. So Square. People often forget about Square, but you're just starting out. It's actually perfect.
Yeah.
Really plug and play, streamlined. You don't need to be super technical to get set up.
Perfect for those of us who aren't like coding wizards. Plus, don't they do those little card readers for in-person sales too? I feel like I've seen those around. Yep, exactly. Handy if you're dipping your toes into any kind of offline selling at the same time. Now, on the flip side, you've got Stripe, a bit more for the tech-forward businesses out there.
That Stripe is a big rep with developers, right?
Big time. It's all about the robust developer tools, the flexibility, that deep level of customization if you need it.
Okay, so more hands-on if you've got the skills, but powerful if you can harness it.
Yeah.
And what about eWay? That one caught my eye because it's Australian.
100%. And that's important for a lot of businesses. Local support, a platform that really gets the Aussie market, that's eWay. Plus, they do multi-currency, which is huge if you're thinking global.
Essential these days, pretty much. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Afterpay. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially with the younger generation.
Yeah. Afterpay has really changed things up. That buy now, pay later, it's huge. But I think what's really interesting is that it's not just about attracting younger shoppers. It's about tapping into a whole group of people who just prefer that flexible payment.
Oh, I've done it. It's so tempting, even for smaller purchases. But I imagine there must be downsides for businesses like fees and things.
There's always a trade-off, right? Afterpay can equal more sales, but they do have merchant fees. So it's not a magic solution for everyone. You got to look at your own business model and decide if it makes sense financially.
Right, because the trendiest payment option in the world isn't much good if it's not actually making you money at the end of the day. So maybe don't just jump on the bandwagon just because it seems like everyone's using Afterpay.
Yeah, it's easy to think that way, but you got to be strategic, which is what I like about this article. It digs a bit deeper.
All right, let's get strategic then. When you're actually comparing these payment gateways, what are the big things, the make or break factors to weigh up?
They actually break it down to 3 main things. Those transaction fees, how easy it is to integrate the gateway with your platform, and then all the security stuff.
All important, but let's be real. Transaction fees, that's got to be number one for most businesses, right? Every cent counts.
Oh, for sure. Especially if you're high volume, those percentages really add up. What's interesting is that they all price differently. So some are flat fees, some are percentage-based, some are a bit of both. Got to understand that side of things.
Do your homework. See what works with your sales volume. What about integration? That's the one that always makes me a bit nervous. Sounds very technical.
It's not as scary as it sounds. Most of them have plugins or integrations for the big e-commerce platforms, your Shopify's, your WooCommerce's, that sort of thing. Makes it pretty painless.
So you're telling me I don't have to rebuild my entire website from scratch just to use a new payment gateway?
Exactly. And even if you do have a custom site, most of them have good APIs so developers can connect everything up fairly easily. Just got to make sure it works with what you've already got.
Love to hear it. Smooth integration equals a happy business owner. Okay, last but not least, security. Big one for anyone dealing with online transactions, right?
It's huge. And not just the basics either. You're trusting these guys with your customers' details. You got to know they can keep that info safe.
So beyond the basics, what should we be looking for?
That PCI DSS compliance we talked about, that's key. Means they meet all the industry standards for data security. Then you've got things like fraud detection tools. You want a gateway that's actively helping you stop those dodgy transactions, protecting you and your customers.
Like having a security guard for your online store. Anything else to keep in mind on the security front?
Two-factor authentication is becoming more and more important, that extra layer of security for your account. And honestly, don't be afraid to just pick up the phone and talk to the Gateway support team if you've got any concerns.
Yeah, a good support team can be worth their weight in gold.
Absolutely. They can help you sort out any vulnerabilities, make sure you're set up right from the get-go. They can also give you advice based on, your business and how much risk you're comfortable with.
Okay, so we've talked transaction fees, ease of integration, had a good chat about security. It's a lot to consider.
It is. And there's one more really important thing the article talks about, especially for us here in Australia.
All right, hit me with it. What's the Aussie angle? Lay it on me. What's the deal for us Aussies?
It's all about compliance, making sure the gateway you choose is actually operating legally here, ticking all those Australian boxes.
Right, so beyond keeping customer data safe, what are we talking about? Specific regulations and things.
Well, there's the Australian consumer law that covers all sorts of stuff, refunds, guarantees, just general online transactions. Then you've got more specific stuff around financial services, data security, the Privacy Act, that PCI DSS thing we talked about. It all comes into play.
So it's about protecting everyone, businesses and customers, making sure the system's fair.
Exactly. When you go with a compliant gateway, you're protecting yourself from legal issues down the line, and you're building trust with your customers, showing them that you take their data seriously, that you're playing by the rules.
Nobody wants to shop with someone who's dodgy with their details, right?
It all comes back to credibility, right? Especially online. Choosing the right payment gateway, it's part of that bigger picture.
This has been great. So for everyone listening who's about to take the plunge with their online store, what's the one thing they need to remember about payment gateways?
Don't just follow the crowd. The best payment gateway for you depends on you, your business, your customers, what you're trying to achieve.
Do your research, compare, ask questions.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, all the tech stuff aside, it has to be a good experience for the customer. They have a smooth checkout, they're more likely to come back.
Make it easy to buy. That's all for today's deep dive into e-commerce payment gateways for Australian businesses. Hopefully you're feeling a bit clearer, a bit more confident about getting set up. We'll catch you next time.